Hi everyone, you're very welcome to this week's online lecture using Microsoft Word. So just to make the point that if you're producing Word documents, having an awareness of the presentation is very important as regards not just for the look of the presentation of the document, but it's also keeping in mind your reader and to making sure that they are focusing in on what it is that you're trying to say and the message you're trying to get across, rather than be distracted by inconsistent formatting. So the learning outcomes that we're going to be looking at here is the first one's pretty obvious now. It's using Word to accurately and competently negotiating your way through using a word processing program. We're going to use MS Word. The second one here, though, it's very much keys into developing your professional development as well. You will be using this in a work scenario, and you will be using this also in formatting your academic assignments. So bear that in mind, that this is useful for that. We'll be covering quite a few aspects of it there that hopefully will be of use to you soon. I'm going to divide it into two sections here. Here in the first part, we're going to be looking at some of these basic functions in Word. I'm also going to touch on it here in the first part about some of the standard academic formatting conventions that you might come across, font size, spacing, and justifying paragraphs. In the second part, what we're going to do is we're going to look at reports and academic formatting. So the first lot here now, just to our left, these are the basic things that you'll be using there. But also as well, there's some things that you will be, as I say, be able to start building on with your academic assignments soon. Hopefully now you'll find this helpful. Okay, I'm just sort of looking at this here now. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at styles and views. We'll just start here. But what I'm doing is I'm just going to show you now that I'm going to try and get this document here. Copy this document here, okay? I'm going to have an unformatted version of that, just with the text here. So I'm going to work through this because I'm going to try and get it to look like that, okay? And you can use that as an exercise if you wish. Okay, so the first thing I just want to show you here is I'm just going to go into the different views. Read mode, you wouldn't really be using that, to be honest. You're going to be usually using your print layout mode. You might be looking at multiple pages. You generally look at that at the end when you formatted everything, just to see that everything looks correct on the page for you. Page width if you want it larger. You can zoom in or you can zoom out depending on what it is that you want to do. Okay. I'm going to do the page width now for a minute because I think that'll be useful for you. You can see it more clearly for the moment. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is we're going to spend a lot of time up here in the Home tab. I'm just going to go up here. I'm going to do Control A. That's selecting all. So just be aware of that. That is useful for you when you are trying to do everything in one go. Okay, your key commands, control shortcuts, I'll have some more notes on that there on your Moodle page if you want to look at those. Okay, Times New Roman. I'm going to go to 12 and I'm going to change the line spacing here to 1.5. Okay. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to select all again here and I'm going to justify the text. I'm going to have everything looking like it's similar there. I could have it to the left, I could have it to the right, I could center it, but I'm going to do justify because we are imitating an academic assignment here. So if I go into my view here, actually it might make it a little bit clearer. Go back in here. Okay, and there we go. So you see the way it's there. The other thing is you might just want to select one paragraph. I'm going to select this one here, okay? And I just want to bring this in a little bit. If you're doing a quotation that's a bit longer than for 3 sentences, I believe it is, you just want to indent one isolated paragraph. So I want to use the rulers up here. You can't see them at the moment, but if I go to View and I go to Ruler here, and I'm just going to select that here. Okay. Whoops. Okay, so that's just selecting it there. Okay, just be aware, you might notice now, I'm going to undo this now, I'm going to go back to undo. And actually, if you notice here, it says Control Z. It's a little hint for you there, what the key command is. I'm going to undo that for a second, because I just want to show you if you do it a little bit wrong, not to panic. Okay, so just be aware. I just want to use the bottom ones here if you're trying to format it here, like that. So just, oops, sorry, now I've done it again. Oops, sorry. Okay. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to go down to bullet points here. Okay, just do a little Control F to find where I have that. B-U-L-L-E-D. Okay, here's my bullet points. Just be aware when you're using bullets, be consistent throughout the document, okay? So capital letters, keep it capital letters, or lowercase if they're lowercase, okay? You don't want to be losing marks over little things like that. Go back into home, do my bullet points, and I can do my list here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just be aware, don't be using anything too fancy here now, okay? You want to keep it, particularly if you're doing an academic assignment, you want to keep it pretty consistent, okay? So I'll just get rid of that there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look down here at tables. Okay, I'm just going to insert a blank table here, okay? Okay, I could just put in some information here. Lexis, Westlaw, and the like, okay? Any of these, okay? Justice, whatever it might be, okay? I can add in here, if I just click it, select on here. Now I can just insert something here at this little menu here that's come out. The other thing is, so you might notice that if I click away, there's nothing up here, but if I click back on it, and I select an object, its tools appear up here. Its toolbar appears up here. So I'm going to go into layout, and I could insert right, or I could merge cells if I wanted to. Any number of things I could do up here. Okay. You might want to put a picture in there. It's good for formatting. If you don't want anyone to see a table there, if you just want to keep things on a page, you can use this. So I'm going to select this here. Okay, I'm going to go to my insert menu, back to where the tables were originally. Okay, sorry, not here. Excuse me. I'm actually going to right click. This is better actually. If I click it, highlight it, okay, and then I'm going to right click, and you see this little drop down menu here. I'm going to get rid of the border. So just to repeat that a little bit more clearly for you, I'm selecting it. There's borders here, all the borders. I could just do the inside borders if I like, whatever works for you. Now this is merged here, so that's fine. That's why that's like that. Okay. Actually, I want to delete that now. I've changed my mind, so I'm just going to delete it. Excuse me. I'm going to delete those columns altogether. Okay, so there they are. Now I could manipulate this in here again. If I click on this here, I mean, I can change the formatting within here. I can do the shading within here. There's any number of things I could do, but I'm not going to at the moment. I'm just going to click on it here. I'm going to delete this altogether actually, because what I want to do is I want to show you how you can use some of the formatting that's already in Word. I'm going to select this here. Okay, select everything there, and I'm going to go up to my insert menu. I'm going to go to table, click on it here, and I'm going to go convert text to table. Just say yes, and it's building everything around it there, which is great. That takes a lot of work, copying and pasting out. I can move these things along and manipulate this. I want everything in one line here, so move this over. You might notice now that this does look a little bit peculiar here. There's lots of funny spaces. That's because, I don't know if you remember, but we justified the whole text before. So I'm going to just put that back to something more appropriate. I'm going to do it left there. And it's the left aligning there, if you see that. Okay. So the other thing is actually what I want to do is I want to get rid of the double line spacing within there, and I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to bring it back into single there. I can change the font within there as well if I wanted to, if I felt it was okay and appropriate to change it to something different. So there we go. I'm going to select it on here now as well. What I want to do is I want to use some of Word's built-in formatting. So because I've selected that object, my table tools has appeared up here. I'm going to go into design, and I can play around with any of these, to whichever one I want here now. So have a look and a play through these, whatever you think is the most suitable for you. I don't know, this one. It's cheerful. Okay. You can make this a little bit bigger. You can change the font size within if you needed the heading to be a little bigger, whatever it might be. The only thing I'll say is this looks a little bit crowded to me, so I'm going to click on that here. See the way the writing is a little crowded in here? I want to increase the spacing in that cell. So if I click on it, again I'm going to go up into my table tools, I go into layout. If I go to my cell margins, I'm only going to do it a tiny bit. I just bring it up by whatever the first increment is there. If I click OK, Now that's just made it a little bit more, given it a bit more space to my eye there. So I think that looks a little bit better there. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into part 2, reports and academic formatting here. Okay, so I'm going to go back and go back for my document here. It's going to continue on with that. Okay, so I want to put in a cover page at this point here. I'm going to go insert a cover page. Pick any one you like here. Everyone suits, you know. Just use this one here. And I'm going to put in Word demo. And then I'm going to put in a little abstract here. So use this document to when working on formatting your next report, whatever it might be. I'm going to click on it there. You can manipulate it. You don't have to stick completely with it. You have it, you know, change things around. I'm not sure that's the best. I'm just going to put IT skills in here. No, you may make that a little bit bigger. That my subheading. Okay, so there we go. There's my cover page. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to put in a contents page. So that's really simple as well. I'm going to go to references, table of contents. So just pick one here. There we go. Don't worry about that. It's just saying that there's nothing there. So what I want to do is now is I actually just want to move this introduction away from the contents page. I'm going to go up to insert here. You'd separate that out. You wouldn't really have it there. You could press return, but it is actually handier if you do the page break. Particularly with a long document, that's easier. Now there's nothing here. So what I want to do is I want to start linking some of these headings in. So I'm going to select that first heading. I'm going to go to home. Then I'm going to choose the first heading here. There we go. So I'll just do the first couple here, just so that you can get an idea of what I'm saying. You can always go back and look at the main document there. That's completely formatted. So I'm going to go back up here, and you'll notice now there's nothing here. So if I click on it though and I update the table there, so every time you make a change, just remember to update your table there, and it'll work for you. Okay, now we're going to look at inserting page numbers. Okay, there's a few ways you can do that. Okay, I'm going to go into my footer here. Headers and footers. I don't know if you're aware of them. I'll have some notes on Moodle there for what they are. But basically anything you put in your header or your footer is going to be on every page. And it can be useful if you want to put in information about who's the author, if this is a draft document, what the file path is, where you could file the file, any number of things there you might want to put in. The date would be one that would be commonly put in. But certainly your page number would be a pretty common one. So I'm going to put that in the bottom there. So that's got everything page numbers there. Okay, now there is going to be times where you might not want the page number shown in your header or footer to be the same as the actual page number. So for example, if the page number is a cover page, second page is table of contents, you might want to have the third page showing as page 1. So to start the page numbering later in your document, you're going to first divide your document into sections and you're going to unlink them. You then display the page numbering and you choose the starting value. So I'm going to click on the document where I want to insert the divide. Okay, then I'm going to go to page layout. I'm going to go to breaks. I'm going to go to next page there. So double click in the header or footer area then where you want to display the page numbers. So I'm going to want to start to do them here. You see it's got a 0 there. Great. 0 and 1. There we go. So I can go to my format, my page numbers, and I'm going to start it at 1. There we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and there we go. So we got our page numbers in nicely there. That is something I would say maybe do when you're doing it, do it at the start, okay? Because later on you can get a little bit confused. It can get a bit confusing when you're doing your page numbers afterwards. There you go. Now see this is still marking as 1. I want to actually get rid of that altogether. So if I click in here, I'm going to go into my header, my footer, and I'm going to delete. I'm going to remove that footer. I don't want it there. I want nothing said there. It's leaving everything in section 2 alone. It's only dealing with section 1. It's only taking the footer away from there. So if we want to add something or edit what we have in here, okay, and just actually this is automatically put me as the author in here. So I'm going to put my Word demo in here. I've got my date in here. I want to add something into the footer down the bottom. I'm going to double click down here. If I go into my footer, I mean it might put something in from here. I could have blanks sections if I want to. I don't actually. What I want to do is I want to go up here and I'm going to put document info. So I have my author there, my file name, where it's saved, so what it's called. The other thing is I might want to put in file path. That's often something you might want to put in so people can find what they're looking for. Put it on there. Okay, the other thing is maybe, there's any number of things you can do. Just move around, find out what's most appropriate for whatever your situation is. So Griffith College, if I haven't put it in. I won't put it in there, though, we're fine. We have enough information in there. Don't overdo it either at the same time. Okay, so just play around with different options for yourself there. Okay, next I just want to look at adding in an image. Okay, I have a little image down here. If I drag this up here, it's not working very well. Basically, it's in line with the text, so it's not working great. If I double click on it, sorry, you see my format thing has come up here. It's made that appear. I'm going to go to my wrap text, and then I'm going to do it square. So I'll put it up here. There we go. I can make it a little bit bigger if I want. I'll have some more notes in this on your Moodle as well, if you want to do anything a little bit more exciting with it, but I just wanted to give you the general idea about mostly that this is where your menu is. You can change a few things for it here. You make it round, circles, this one here maybe. Okay, and there we have our image added. The other thing that you can do is if you go into your design view, you can change the look of the document in general here. So there's any number of things you can do. So I can change the colors of it here. So you can play around with that to make it look a little bit more personalized, a little less like you've just picked it up off the design template. But they're well designed, so it's fair enough to be using them. Okay, so I can use any of those there. So I'm going to leave it green because it's going to go with my table a little bit. Is it? Yeah, it is. So we'll leave it green. Equally up here, I can change my colors here, so it'll reflect the changes here, if you so wish. Okay, so just get it looking whatever way is the way that you'd like it to have a look. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at footnotes. Okay, so I have a couple of examples here. I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to pretend that I'm using that as a citation, so I'm going to insert there a footnote, and I'm going to go to my references and insert a footnote, and there it is, the bottom of the page. I can just copy and paste that in now. I'm going to copy this in here and pretend that I've had this in my notes somewhere else, and I'm going to say I would like to have my other footnote here, please. I'm going to insert my footnote. It's doing it too, and I'll just paste it in there. So if I was to delete that, it would get rid of it. It keeps a tally on the footnotes all throughout my document, which is great and very useful indeed. The other thing that can be useful when you're doing your bibliography, say for example, you might ordering a list. So if I'm going to select on this here, you see the way it's alphabetically, it's not correct. I'm going to select that there. If I go over to home over here, I'm going to go to sort, just say yes, and it's going to automatically do it in a way that's alphabetical. The last thing I'm just going to have a quick look at here is if I go into design, now this would be more for a report, you wouldn't use this for your assignment, so I'm going to go to watermarks. Now remember, I went into design, gone into watermarks. We can put any of these in here. I could do a custom watermark as well if I wanted to put something in there. I could change it. I wouldn't really put ASAP in there now. I wouldn't necessarily think that's a great way to put it, but I'm just going to say OK there. Apply and OK. It's actually the same as some of the other templates. I'm going to close that and I'm going to say there we are. Okay. Okay, I hope you found that very useful with regards to your academic assignments. If there is anything else you need to know on these, please do let me know. Okay. Okay, just the last thing I want to look at here now is backing up your files. You could use a number of different ways to back up your files online. OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox are some of the most common ones. I'm going to put up links online, little tutorials for that if you want to avail of those. Personally, I think OneDrive is great, and it emulates Word very well, and for the email system on that is fantastic as well. And we might look at that in the live day when we meet up. So I just wanted to put in your minds there, just have a look at that, have a think about it, and I'll be in touch with you about that again near the time of the live day. So I hope you found that useful. As always, you can contact me if you need anything at all, and if you need anything clarified. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.